As you all know, we have a VIP speaker this evening, the world-famous classical pianist Anil Srinivasan. Anil did his schooling from Vidya Mandir, graduated in economics from Chennai, obtained an MPhil from Columbia Business School and an MBA from the University of Southern California. But he opted to return to Chennai around 2008 and devote himself totally to music and music education. His ambition is to make a difference to India through both. He won the coveted Sangeet Natak Academy Youth Award in 2010 for creative and experimental music. He has composed extensively for dance and theatre internationally, in Korea, Australia, and the United States. He has been a TED speaker. He has chaired top conferences on music in India and abroad. He is the director of the Peninsula Studios in Delhi, one of India's first initiatives to record and archive independent music. His collaborations with Sikil Gurucharan have produced 10 top-class albums. He has also collaborated with several other top artists, including U. Srinivas, Ravi Kiran, Aruna Sairam, Unni Krishnan, Lalgudi Krishnan, to name a few. But he perhaps values most highly his work as founder of the hugely successful music education initiative, Rhapsody. Rhapsody has reached out to nearly 400,000 children across South India. Specifically, Rhapsody has pioneered the idea of STEM learning using music and arts-based intervention. He provides schools with systematic syllabi in classical arts using a combination of physical classroom learning and online support. As Mukund mentioned, Madras South owes Anil Srinivasan a great debt of gratitude. In 2013, he played the piano when Mr. SPB sang at our big fundraiser, SPB Unplugged. Mr. SPB discussed several of his songs with Anil, who was a close friend of his. Anil is also a Rotarian and belongs to the Rotary Club of Madras. He had raised 2 crores for his club through his American contacts for a state-of-the-art school set up by the Rotary Club of Madras in Perumbakam for children of people hit by the 2015 floods. Anil Srinivasan says, history tells us that the most successful people have been interested in music. He says, early music education can make your child a better engineer or a better doctor. This evening, he'll tell us all about the role of music in education. Over to Anil Srinivasan.
Thank you very much for a very colorful introduction, and I hope I'm audible. I know I'm visible. I hope I'm audible as well. Before when I said yes to Mr. Madhu, by the way, I never say no to Mr. Madhu. I'd like Mr. Madhu to note that point. I was going to talk about music education and the effect of it, and I thought this is the first Rotary meeting I am addressing after SPB passed away. So I thought I'll start by playing an SPB song. And it's deviating from the syllabus of music education, but to me the best music education has been SPB. So I thought I'll start with that. Okay. Again, you'll have to tell me whether this is audible. You're audible?
It is audible.
I hope that was audible to everybody the way I'm. Is there any disturbance? Because sometimes when the fan is on, Zoom doesn't totally function properly. But I mean,
It's
this
good.
is the
It's
best
good. Yeah.
best we can do. I thought I'll structure this, given the Rotary format, I'll just structure this as 5 songs that have sort of shaped my journey. And in that, I cover what I've done with music education, what I'm doing with it, etc. As was said in the introduction, we are working with 3,77,000 children in South India today. That's about 477 schools. I'm also happy to tell you that both my auditor and I sat and for fundraising through music. The total amount in the last 7 years that I have raised is 13.25 crores. And that to me, it's not about talking about myself, it's just the power of music. When RCM took me in, that's one of the things I said. I think you've got a fundraiser here, and they have sort of used that very well. The power of music is that it not only affects people emotionally and it affects people in the way we think and we move and we behave, but music also makes people act on things. And when I made the mention of the amount of money, I'm not even such a big musician, but if I could raise that kind of money using music, just imagine the power that musicians hold today in being able to do so much good to society. We all often think of them as entertainers, we are thought of as entertainers. There's so much more to life than entertainment that a lot of musicians do. Of course, the caveat being not all musicians think that way, but the power is very, very huge. So the 5 songs that shaped my life. Let me start with the first one, and that one is this. If you didn't recognize that, shame on you. Okay, that's Vande Mataram. And yeah, sometimes I will crack these inappropriate jokes only to make sure that people are listening and not on their WhatsApp. Okay, I really, really wish that this was happening in Savera and I'd had that samosa and I'd had that masala chai and that whole fellowship that happens in that foyer when we are busy gossiping about something or the other. I'm really missing all of that. Zoom really doesn't allow us to do this, but I'm going to try my best to keep it as humorous as possible. So, Vande Mataram, the reason I play this is that I was doing my PhD in neuroscience at Columbia, and one of the things that struck me when I was studying is there was a film called Swades which released at that time, and I was part of first day first show in New York in quite a lot of rain, and I think I was part of a group of people who were very, very inspired at that time to come back to India and do a lot for India, and it was becoming increasingly difficult to justify being an Indian by nature, by heart and by spirit, and and trying to talk American during the day. It was very, very hard, you know. The psychological drama that we had to undergo on a daily basis was really, really hard, and so I came back, you know. I mean, I devoted myself to music. It's very wrong to say that I came back to music because I was always in music. I never left it. I've been playing since I was 3. And I came back. I really didn't have a plan. But things happened. The Sangeet Natak Academy Award happened. And as part of that, I was sent as a chief guest to schools, you know. And I went to one of these schools in Tiruvarur, which is sort of really the birthplace of Carnatic music. And I asked the children, do you know who the musical trinity are? And which is Tyagaraja and Muthuswami Dikshitar and Shama Shastri. And instead of saying those 3 names, the kids said Namita, Nayantara and Shreya Saran. And that kind of threw me. I mean, it was good fun. I'm a big fan of all 3 also. But that's not the musical trinity. And the sad part is that I was thinking to myself that if you go to Salzburg, even the toilet paper says Mozart. Okay, and in Tiruvarur we are doing so very little. I mean, we do a lot of lip service in December in Chennai and the Hindu and all of that, but very little going on when you leave, you know, sort of this South Chennai belt. And I said, what's going on? Right? So that was sort of like a turning point, and I started investing a lot of time in schools in looking at what music is doing. Now, part of my neuroscience research was looking at the effect music has on the brain. And I can tell you that music affects more than 90% of the brain, as opposed to speech or as opposed to text, which affects it less. Research now shows that a single sentence, if I speak it, you have about 30 to 35 neurotransmitters getting activated. The same line, if I sing it, 333,000 neurotransmitters are getting fired in your brain. And with this kind of effect that music has on intelligence, if we are not using it enough in school education, instead we are making children sing very silly things. So imagine a Tirupur or a Tirupatur classroom in summer, and children are being taught to sing Rain, Rain, Go Away, Come Back Another Day. Right? Or my favorite one from Chennai, in October, we are singing Let It Be a White Christmas and the Air Be Filled with Snow. Okay, these are the kinds of things that are going on in the music class. And we are totally wasting what could be a very vital intelligence input to basically repeating songs which nobody even sings anymore. So I said, how could we transform this? How do we do a format disruption? How do we change the way we think about things? Right? So I mapped out a set of skill sets which are intelligence correlated, skill correlated to music, and mapped it along CBSE, State Board, ICSE, IGCSE curricula. And this started getting implemented in schools. We started with about 4 or 5 schools in the first year, and it became a team. And we have grown in the last 8 years to nearly 500 schools. It's 477 schools which are implementing this curriculum, which combines art, which is basically music, with STEM. How do you use music to teach STEM? So if I have a song like, if I have a formula like x plus y the whole square, if I sing it as x plus y the whole square is x square plus y square plus 2xy. If you know the how and why, you'll know how and you'll know why. A plus b the whole square is, and that kind of thing, you know. So there are songs, there's a song for the periodic table, there's a rhythmic application on how you do decimal points. We use complicated talams to teach fractions. I mean, there's all this kind of interactivity going on. And I also got to, you know, recruit very intelligent people. They're not music teachers, they're actually just graduates and postgraduates, including engineers, who just have a passion for music, but they became my teachers. And that's actually what has helped scale the model a lot, because you get a music teacher in, the music teacher will come back to Sarli Verse, Janta Verse, and how to teach Carnatic music. You catch a graduate who's passionate about music, they bring the passion into the classroom. And what we really needed is an art STEM connect. What we really needed is an interdisciplinary connect. And that's what it is. I'm very proud to tell you that this year, which is 2020, despite the pandemic, Rhapsody, which is the company that I founded for this, has been shortlisted for the Reimagine Awards. Reimagine is like the Oscars for education. It's given away in London every year. We are in the top 12 among 2,200 firms worldwide which is pioneering changes in education, and I'm very happy about that. I'm rarely proud about anything I do, but this I'm very proud about because it's a testament to my team, not so much about myself. Now I'll play the second song that has affected my life. Again, if you don't know this song, shame on you. This is, let me see, whoever chat on the chat box guesses this song first, I will contribute some money as sunshine in their name. Aha, Ajit Gautam, I'm contributing 500 rupees sunshine in your name. Which means you get to pay the 500 rupees and everybody gets to say that I gave it. Okay, Sindhu Nadi, because for me, the love for Tamil was the second sort of important influence. I wanted to explore how, why are children in school singing songs which were left behind by nuns in convents? I mean, we don't need to sing Down Yonder Green Valley and things like that, which are all from Ireland anymore. Nammaloda own tradition, when we say our marabu, which is our tradition, there are so many different, there are songs for agriculture, there are songs for the seasons, there are songs about mathematics, there are songs on discipline. One of my favorite ones is V.V. Shadagopan or Tyagabharati. Dimiki, 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 Natte amki, 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 varugudhu dimiki, 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 which is so perfect for the Bihar elections today. Anyway, we have so much in our own traditions which is not going into the classroom, and I wanted to ensure that we brought a lot of our own traditions in. And when I said Tamil, we then started extending it to Telugu. We work in Andhra Pradesh, we work in Karnataka, so it started getting into different languages. And my whole thing was, how can language get integrated into how we do this? Not all of it has to be in English. How can we bring a lot of languages in? So that was the second sort of song. Now I'll play the third song, and this is a song that all of you know, so no sunshine on this one. Again I said, okay, so in the name of Beena, I think 500 more points should get added to Sunshine, which is Nilaveva. And the reason I mentioned Nilaveva is Ilayaraja, SPB, and that brings me to Tamil film. And I'm a Tamil film Paithyam, and one of the things that really sort of has shaped my life. Other than everybody knows about me playing with Sikil Gurucharan and Jayanti Kumaresh and the whole classical spectrum, which is kind of my suspicion on why some people stayed away thinking that I'm going to be talking about Carnatic music. I want everybody to go back to the people who didn't come today and say, you missed such a great session because he was playing such fabulous songs. Nanna Venum. You need to be able to go and say that to people who didn't come. Okay. Tamil film, and I've been a big participant in it. I play for a lot of music directors. I played for Raja, and this has been a great shaper in my life because Tamil cinema music, much against what people think, is very layered, is extremely sophisticated. A lot of very, sort of a conurbation of fantastic talents that come together. And the idea of making music that you have to ensure that people will enjoy is very different from making music for your own passion's sake. So, give me a song and ask me to make a classical improvisation on it, it's very easy, right? Give me a lyrics and say that you need to make a song out of it that people will like listening to and hum. It's very hard, and you have to keep working on it. It requires a tremendous amount of humility to be actually able to do that. And I've learned so much from that fraternity, and one of the big things that fraternity has taught me is collaboration. I know for your own club, and some of you were there when I played with SPB for your club. I wanted to tell all of you here, having lost SPB recently, something that you will enjoy hearing. Just before we went on stage, SPB in that Music Academy concert, Mr. Madhu was at 13th August 2014. Am I right? 13th August 2013.
16th August 2013.
I knew I had something. I was somewhere in the ballpark. Okay, so I've done about 3,300 concerts till now, and if I can remember the date of an RCMS concert, it's very significant for me. Okay, SPB when the stage just munadi onnu sonnar, and I really think it's important for everybody here. He just caught me by the hand and he said, "Unga alavukku enakku music theriyadu." So if I make a mistake on stage, Anil, you somehow manage it off. And I was completely shaken because I said, how can you say that to me? I mean, talk about adding pressure. You are like, the legend that you are. You're not supposed to be saying that to me. Right? You're supposed to guide me. And he said, no, the thing is, no matter what you do, there's so much to learn from everybody else with you on stage. And I think it's a great learning that I've taken into creating a workplace, creating so many other things. I looked at him again and I said, what do you mean, sir? I mean, everybody's learning from you. He said, it's parasparam. Everybody's learning from each other. But you need to remember one thing. We are in the business of communication. We are not in the business of entertainment. I thought it was amazing that just before I went on stage, he was to say that to me. That the entire purpose of the arts is communication. Is just the ability, because music can help you express certain things that you can't otherwise express. Right? All I have to do is just, I'll do a quick quiz. Let me see, fastest finger, yaar idu pandran. Idu endha padam solnom. There you go, see. This is my proof for 90% of your brain being occupied. This quiz is interesting, right? I'll give you one more, right? There you go. Okay. That's all, right? This is my proof for business of communication. I didn't even have to play the song. It's already communicated everything. And the song and the movie matram varliye. Revati Munji varde, Mohan Munji varde, and the Arahana Vidi varde, Maniratnam Vinayavardhu. So many things. Your brain is like buzzing. I can tell you, no matter how convincing I can make a balance sheet sound to you or how I can make a schedule 8 sound to you, it's not going to be as interesting as playing a set of notes. How many conferences, board meetings we have all slept through? Just think, right? where we really can't concentrate and music makes you do that like this. அவ்வளோதான். ஆனால் நம்ம மியூசிக் என்ன சொல்கிறோம், என்டர்டெயின்மெண்ட் அப்படின்னு ஒதுக்கி வச்சிடுறோம். இட்ஸ் நாட், இட்ஸ் ஆக்சுவலி கம்யூனிகேட்டிங். அண்ட் it took an SPB to say that to me. I mean, I knew that, but the way he articulated it, and it's important and significant, Mr. Madhu, that this happened for a Rotary Club of Madras South concert. This is where he said it, and I want you to remember this, because when you asked me to talk about SPB, I forgot to mention this anecdote to you, right? I remember he finished that concert and he said one more thing to me, which was also very significant. He said, what a fabulous audience this was. The thing is, எனக்கு வந்து ஆடியன்ஸுங்கிறது ஐ எம் வெரி மெட்ரிக், ரைட்? அண்ட் தட்ஸ் வித்யாமந்தர் ட்ரைனிங், ரைட்? ஐ திங்க் இன் டர்ம்ஸ் ஆஃப் நம்பர்ஸ். ஃபுல் ஹவுஸ் இருந்ததுன்னா வெரி குட் ஆடியன்ஸ், அவ்வளோதான். பாதி ஹவுஸ் தான் இருந்ததுன்னா ஆடியன்ஸ் போகல, ரைட்? வி ஆர் டெம்ப்டட் டு திங்க் லைக் தட். It's the normal question we all get around this time in any other year. எத்தனை கச்சேரி பண்ணுறீங்க to success, right? எத்தனை கச்சேரின்னு சொன்னால் மட்டும் போகிறது, எத்தனை பேர் வந்தாங்க, அதில் எத்தனை பேர் கடைசி வரைக்கும் இருந்தாங்க. We are such a metric. Tamilians, we love numbers. Everything is measured by numbers. எப்படி வாசிச்சிங்க, கான்சர்ட் உங்களுக்கு பிடிச்சதா அப்படின்னு யாருமே கேட்க மாட்டாங்க. எவ்வளோ பேர் வந்தாங்க அப்படிங்கிறது தான் ஃபஸ்ட்டு கேள்வி. எவ்வளோ டிக்கெட் விற்பனை, ரைட்? எவ்ரிதிங் இஸ் விற்பனை. And he said, fabulous audience. I said, yes sir, I mean it was a full house. He said, he caught me by the ear like this. He said, what nonsense. நீ என்ன சினிமா டிக்கெட்டா வித்துட்டு இருக்க, கையில் வித்தை வச்சுட்டு இருக்க அப்படின்னாரு. கையில் வித்தை வைக்கிறவன் வந்து விற்பனைலாம் யோசிக்கக்கூடாது. You should think about the value that you're bringing to the audience, and the value that the audience is bringing to you. And this is important because children have brought value to me, right? Most of the time as an educator I realize that we are talking at children. We are really not talking to children. We make a set of assumptions and then we just go and impose it on them. They're actually not listening to them. Rhapsody is helping me do that. Now let me get on to the fourth song. I'm covering a lot of ground. Hopefully it's entertaining so far, because some people are still smiling, I can see. Ekla Chalo Re, and it's by Rabindranath Tagore, and the literal translation just means, even if the whole world opposes you, walk alone. As long as you believe in your convictions and as long as you are courageous about your beliefs, even if the thorns are making your feet bleed, walk alone. And it's really this whole thing on courage of conviction. உனக்கு belief இருந்ததுன்னா நிமிர்ந்து நட அப்படிங்கிறது தான். That is the whole purpose of this composition. I don't think I have to explain something like that. Everybody here understands what that means. And it's not easy playing the piano in the Carnatic music tradition. It's not easy being born tam-bram and going and telling your parents, I'll let alone my MBA and my PhD and come and teach music, right? Everything in my life has been sort of contrarian. It's been against the grain. But if I was not a musician, could I have raised 13.5 crores? I can't even imagine if somebody told me a figure like that 10 years ago. I'll come to the last part of it, and this is meant for the whole club actually. pandemic is a very useful time to think about it. It's Hum Honge Kamyab in Hindi, but it's We Shall Overcome in English. There's a Tamil version, it's in every language now. And the first day of Rhapsody grew to the strength that it had, and this year we would have been, as I said, in nearly 500 schools, but the pandemic hit us. But repeatedly, one thing that music has shown me is that you have to hold on to hope. The best part of music education, or being educated in music, is that you learn the language of hope. It's very, very easy to give in, to give up, but you can't. Right? You have to keep going. You can't question the end, you can't question the goal, you just got to go with the flow. And the flow will take you there. And music, playing with legends, SPB or Mandolin Srinivas, and these are all people, they won't tell you before the concert, in the phrase, point 3.3.3a, they'll just say, play. I don't even know what they're planning to play. I just have to accompany them or whatever it is. And you just learn on the go. And one thing I've realized is you close your eyes and trust in the flow, it'll take you there. It somehow just does. It's magic. Romba plan pandrom. We plan a lot and we think that everything can be predicted by Excel sheets. You know? Excel rules our life. Whether we excel or not, we live in Excel. Google Docs. Doing all these documentations, and then day after tomorrow you will get up and find that somebody else that is very close to you has COVID-19. What are you going to do with that Excel sheet and that Google Doc? Right? You can't. There's no way you can predict or anticipate what is going to happen. Or to put it in the language of all my American friends, Kamala Harris is now the Vice President of the United States. No one expected that this was going to happen. I mean the victory of that moment, right? By the way, I saw a ridiculous article that I must forward to you that they've called Trump, Shiva and Biden as Vishnu. This is an article. Destruction and preservation. Belief. But anyway, this too shall pass, right? So one of the things that music teaches you is to go with the flow. And to me, that's the best part of music education. So at the beginning of the pandemic, I think, which was on March 22nd, I announced online in one of my social media pages, I said, why don't all the artists get together and do a Janta Curfew online festival? 22,958 artists across the world participated that day on my social media wall. It was more cataclysmic than I imagined, that so many people would just take one status message and do this. And it's a great humbler, but also for me, you can never be too small to create an impact, no? Manasla impact pannonu nanchen pannakoodadhu, or idea irundhu nama pannona adu impact tannala varum abingiradhu music enakku vande. It's always taught me that everywhere I go in the world, if I just play music as an icebreaker, automatically everybody in that room is becoming my friend. I have a suspicion that some people in this room who came in with suspicion are now becoming my friends. Okay? The power of music. If I had given you a detailed Excel sheet, PowerPoint presentation on neurobiology, neuropsychiatry, neuroaesthetics and the effect of music on the brain, I would have lost more friends today than made them. Okay? The business of communication. So I wanted to end with the message of hope, saying we shall overcome and the best is yet to come. Thank you so much RCMS for having me today.
Thank you, Anil. Such a
Fantastic.
pleasant, breezy, and fun session. We'll take a few questions now. More of interaction than questions.
Sure.
Madhu.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Now, you talked about music and the brain. Now, suppose I want to encourage a 3-year-old, say my grandson. Does film music have the same effect as classical music?
No, it has different effects on the brain. Depends on the type. Actually, the differentiator is more on whether the music is instrumental or it has instrumental and vocal. Instrumental music and that too with repeated pattern similarity. So typically music with beats has a much deeper impact on children of that age than free-flowing music. So it's much more to do with the structure of the music than the genre that it represents.
Anil, I have a question. You have chosen Nilaveva. From the same movie, you have Chinna Chinna Vannakuil, which is more colorful. Why have you gone for Nilaveva, which is very, I mean, it's a sad part of the entire story.
I chose Nilaveva because I played that very particular song for the concert for your club with SPB. Adanala that's choose panna.
You
Chinna
had
Chinna
mentioned-
Vannakuil, எனக்கு Nilaveva has been one of my favorites. I played Nilaveva with SPB on stage for you, but more than that, I think Nilaveva is probably one of the first Ilayaraja songs that I learned to play on the piano. So it's just a sentimental memory for me, that song.
Anil, one of my favorite songs is The Lion Sleeps Tonight. Just a few chords for SPB. A few chords.
You're talking about In the Jungle, The Happy Jungle, The Lion Sleeps Tonight. Adva.
Yeah.
Yes, are there any other famous classical pianists from India or in India?
Quite a few, sir. Quite a few. There's from Goa, there have been people like Olga Kran. From Calcutta, there have been quite a few in the earlier part of the century. Bombay, Noreen Green. These are all people even in the 1900s, 1900 to 1950. It's only later that we have more pianists emerging from this part. But even today, among the world's better classical pianists, you have people like Fali Pavri, who's also Bombay, and he's based out of Scotland now. I can keep naming lots of names, but the thing is that these are all names which make a difference to people who are already in the piano scene. They're not names in the popular scene, but these are all, in my opinion, some of the most path-breaking classical pianists to have come from India. It's slightly sad that we don't have andalukku publicity for Western music. But people like me, unfortunately, end up becoming better known even though we are not that good, because we end up playing different genres. So I play Carnatic music, I play film music, I play jazz, I play every different thing. Therefore, you end up reaching more audiences and more people are familiar with your work. But classical, there are, as I said, quite a few. I can name like 20 or 30.
Hi Anil, this is Kalyani. I have a question.
Hi, Kalyani.
You said, hi, you were talking about how, when you set various formulae to tune, it helps the children remember it better. At the same time, I want to know whether, playing some music in the background while they're doing their math or learning something does that kind of thing help too?
Totally. And in fact, I myself have published papers on this, Kalyani, on the type of music that you should play, which is concentration enhancing and things like that. So, totally
So
helps. There is a very famous
there's certain
theory called, there's a famous theory called the Mozart effect, I mean, the Mozart effect has been modified since it first came in 1991, where it says that playing soft instrumental music in the background is very good for concentration, but you can't really generalize because the different people have different influences. When children come and say, I want the music to be playing when I'm studying, please encourage it. It actually is helping them.
Okay, thank you.
There's a saying that music has a lot of maths in it.
It does.
So
Yes.
suppose we reverse it and say maths has a lot of music in it.
Totally.
Yes, there is a pattern both in music and very often in math also. There are a lot of patterns to be followed.
Totally. In fact, I do when I do demonstrations for little children. I look at concepts in not just algebra and arithmetic, but we also look at complex concepts in, say, Euclidean geometry, and how can you connect that with, when geometry. I must tell you a couple of interesting factoids. Like, for example, there's a Bach piece by the composer Bach called the Brandenburg Concertos. Of that, number 3, it's sort of the pattern is. That particular they took that composition, took out the midpoints of each successive phrase, and the midpoint maps onto a certain frequency. And when they mapped the frequency on a graph paper, they got the exact shape of the Cologne Cathedral. Okay, so here is a composer who took architecture, took the topography of architecture, converted that into a frequency distribution, used the frequency distribution to construct notes, which then became a composition. So, mathematics to music. Right? There are different aspects. I mean, if I look at area under the curve, if I look at integration, and if I look at differentiation, I'm a big calculus freak. Many times when you're doing complex calculus calculations, they appear like, in my mind, they become beautiful musical frequencies. So one of the things I do is when I see patterns of numbers. So if I take pi or expansion is say 1.4142135624, I map each of those numbers to notes and then I construct a melody out of it, and it always makes sense to me.
Do you follow golden ratio?
Many times, and most of the classical composers followed the golden ratio when it came to music. So in fact, chord construction pathale and the 1-3-5, 1-4-5 patterns. So Mozart, for example, when he does the ascending order of chords in that is following the Fibonacci sequence or the golden ratio, whichever way you want to look at it. So it does take the 1, then 1, 1, then 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, abdida move up. Mozart, in fact, was as much a mathematician or an abstract mathematician as he was a musician. And the golden ratio is sometimes very useful in constructing harmony. So when we do 4-layered or 5-layered harmonies, we mostly follow the golden ratio patterns for symmetry in music.
Nice.
All these are fields which are interconnected.
Can you tell us a little bit about Rhapsody, this project through which you have reached 400,000 children? Now, how is it run? How many teachers are involved, and how is it funded?
So Rhapsody is a for-profit organization. I know some people are not going to like what I'm about to say, but I am a strong believer that you should create a for-profit institution if you want to do any good, because you should be able to pay for yourself. It's a completely self-funded model that way. What we do is we go to schools. I have 133 trainers, about 70 people in staff, administration and content. So its total strength is 221. We have 460 lesson plans which map music to STEM subjects plus geography plus history plus language. And these lesson plans are conducted by the trainers trained by Rhapsody in schools as part of the curriculum, which means it's compulsory for all students who are enrolled in that school. And the school pays Rhapsody. So the cost of Rhapsody is 100 rupees a child a month, which, as you can tell, is a very, very small number. Okay, 100 rupees is nothing, but it's volumes that make the company grow, and as a model, therefore, it has grown. We are a profitable company. We turned profitable 2.5 years ago. Corona year, of course, is non-profit for everybody, but 2.5 years ago, we've been cash positive. I also run a foundation, which is an NGO, which is called the Rhapsody Foundation, which is an ATG exempted charitable trust, where we offer the same curricula, the same lesson plans, free of cost to children in government schools. That by itself is reaching about 116,000 children. And that is completely funded by CSR donations, grants and aid, and of course funded a large part by Rhapsody itself. So we do work, democratize this concept as much as possible. So along with the private limited, we started the foundation as well. So we do both.
Any other? I have a few questions, but I don't wish to monopolize. Now, what's your secret for time management?
Oh my God, I actually don't have any secret, Mr. Madhu. My secret is my wife. She puts up with all the most crazy demands on my schedule because I manage 3 careers. I'm running Rhapsody, both private limited and foundation. I'm of course a performer that you all know. I'm also a professor at Kriya University. I teach creativity, collaboration and the future of work, and I look at the intersections between art and science. I am also the area chair at Kriya University on design thinking. So if you want to know why I've become a multitasker and lost all my hair, ask my professor who's in your club, Professor R.V. Rajan. But the secret to all that is, so I'm going to say this again, I seem to see a majority here as men. I don't care if you all hate me for this, but I want to admit that women are the superior gender, are better multitaskers than we are. And entrusting myself completely to the care of the far better multitasker at home, namely my wife, has ensured that I'm able to do justice to all of these things. That is my not so simple answer.
Is she into music as well?
She's an engineer, she works with Train Technologies, but she's also a Bharatanatyam dancer and she also teaches, so she's also a multitasker. But I can tell you that I am the one dancing to her tunes, not the other way around.
We all are.
Can you tell us how did you get into music? Or you born with the piano in hand?
I don't remember at all because I started playing when I was 3. And அந்த காலத்துலலாம் நல்ல வேளை social media இல்ல. Otherwise I think by now child prodigy would have become an adult tragedy. But apparently I walked over to a piano when I was 3 and demanded to play, and they indulged me and I started playing. I mean, I don't even know how this happened, but ever since I can remember I've been playing. So
Maybe some past life influence.
I keep thinking that, you know, in my fanciful moments I think I must have been Beethoven or something like that. but in more rational moments I think I must have been the lamplighter or the sweeper or something outside their house or something like that.
Thank you, Anil. It was a lovely evening.
Pleasure.
Thank you,
Pleasure.
sir.
Thank you.
By the way, I wanted to make one more announcement. So one of the other things that I do is I'm a patron trustee of this home for blind women. It's called Jnana Darshan. I know some of you here are aware of this work that I do called Concert in the Dark, where once every year I blindfold myself and I also make the venue completely dark so that you experience blindness for an hour. And I play and we raise money for this home. It's entirely blind women and girl children, 63 of them. It's a home based in Aminjikarai. This year, since I couldn't hold the concert in real life in a venue, I'm going to be doing a series of these online through December. I will keep sending links. Do what you can to spread the word and help around, because this is a good cause. It's the last good charity I'm doing for 2020, so it would be remiss on my part if I didn't mention it.
This is the one in Mehta Nagar, that entrance?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you,
One
Anil.
show I did 4 concerts for them. So go ahead. Sorry.
So, okay, finish. I request.
I'm done.
Okay, cool. I request Rutay and Satya to give us the vote of thanks. After which, if Anil is free, we can continue our dialogue.
Hi.
By the way,
Am I
you should
audible?
Rotarian to Rotarian, you shouldn't be thanking at all.
Yeah.
The only thing you should be saying is what more can we do together?
You know, I took a few people to dialogue in the dark, and they were really spooked.
The restaurant, yeah.
They were really spooked.
But I must tell you, Mukund, one thing, a concert in the dark, when I did it, there were still the wonderful people of Chennai who were coming and taking selfies in the dark. So let's try and figure that out, okay? And it was quite annoying at a point because I was blindfolded, but I could sense some flashes, And when I took the halfway break and I said, are people photographing here? And there's a loud amount of people saying yes. And I was going, what is wrong with these people? I mean, the room is in complete darkness. What photograph would you come? And then somebody came and said, "Naangalo inga vandon kaamchikanolla, adukkaga we took a selfie." Go figure.
Satya.
Hope I am audible. Mughal.
You are.
Hi. Good evening, Rotarians. It's my privilege to propose the vote of thanks today on behalf of RCMS. I'd like to thank our chief guest and speaker, Mr. Anil Srinivasan, for sparing his precious time to enrich us with his knowledge and expertise. Sir, we are really astonished by your depth knowledge in music and your passion towards the music. Really, we are lucky to have you with us today, sir. We thoroughly enjoyed the event and especially your message on impact of music in children's education system is really a need of the day. Thank you, sir, once again. My role would remain incomplete if I don't thank my fellow Rotarians who took special interest in attending this event. Thank you all Rotarians. Also, I would like to thank our president and team for organizing this wonderful event. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all. I need to leave, but please do continue.
I want to, how regular can you be in meetings of Rotary Club of Madras?
Sorry?
No, you're Rotary from Rotary Club of Madras.
I am a very active Rotarian, very, very active Rotarian. I am part of at least 4 committees in my club, obviously fundraising, program and events. And because I was one of the key members for the school building that we did in Perumbakam, I was the secretary for that committee as well. So, Rotary is a pleasant disease because if you catch it at the right time, it doesn't leave you. So,
Sir, I would like to ask one question. For this piano, what is the right age for kids? And also, we would like to know whether it is accessible in all areas. For example, in terms of continuity, if we are putting them in classes, like we know other instruments, we know the coaches or trainers are there, but this one being a different one, the continuity is worrying.
the ideal age is actually, I would say, about 4 to 5. By which time you can have an attention span of at least say 20 to 25 minutes per lesson. Piano is now spread across Tamil Nadu, Puerto Rico, it's spread across the state. People are using digital, like me, they're using a lot of digital pianos and keyboards. There are a lot of instructors. Incidentally, I am just on Udemy, which is, as you know, a learning platform. I've just created a course called Indian Music for Piano. I just launched it about 10 days back. About 50 to 60 people have already registered on it. I think more are on the way. In January, I'll be launching a beginner's guide to piano, which is 150 standardized lessons for piano, which means that at a self-paced level, and this is what I mean by format disruption, you can access it on a mobile phone anywhere and you don't even need an instructor. You should be able to study it. More and more of these kinds of things are coming. Rhapsody is next. department or thing that we are doing is going to be an app platform where we are doing precisely this, is making music instruction accessible to children of across the world, and it doesn't matter what your background is, you will be able to learn.
How much man hours we may need to train the children per month or per week? You have to dedicate?
The golden rule is an hour a week. So which means that hour a week naga doesn't mean hour of instruction. It can be half an hour of instruction but half an hour of practice. Beyond that, children also get overloaded.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Anil. I'll be taking leave. Thanks a lot for the time that you have spent with us. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Pleasure. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was a wonderful session. Thank you, Anil.